So Jason's got to pee. I got to take a nap. Will?
Yeah. But maybe we can get the show done and then I can pee. Should I just pee in my seat here? How does that work?
You should do that. You should get one of those.
Or should get one of those microphones that like singers use. I can just take it to the bathroom, right, on a long cord.
And then do you guys mind if I take a nap while you do that?
Oh, wait, you're awake?
Welcome to SmartLess.
SmartLess.
All right, so hi, Will. Hi, Sean.
Hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Hi.
How are you?
Will, you look like you're doing a hostage video. Where are you?
Yeah. Maybe somebody picks you up real soon.
I'm safe. I'm fine. I'm holding up today's newspaper. And
Are you in Atlanta?
I am. I'm in Atlanta.
Are you in a dressing room?
I'm in an office. I'm in a production office.
Oh, really?
So what you have is like a little break. You have a little lunch hour.
They built it around our record today. That's what they do down here.
That's nice.
Everybody's real helpful.
Look how handsome you are, Sean. Let's just drink him in for a second.
Well, I've been
Even on a
drinking for
hostage
years.
video lighting setup, he looks just. What's going on down there?
I have free refills with looking at Will. I just fill up every time.
Right? And just pour them over you. Will, are you sick?
No, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
No. I
It's
think
a real sharp jawline.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't cut yourself.
I'm just down here, and I gotta say again, everybody's super nice. Remember last time I was here, I was dealing with a lot of issues at a certain department store with the glory hole.
Yes, I
Why
killed
don't
you.
I remember that?
You do remember that, certainly.
I'll never
Do
forget
you
it.
No.
not?
Why would I not remember a glory hole story?
This year we're dealing with the same guy who told us about that is telling us about this this app, which is that he's on to meet people.
Sure.
And now it's not even like a Tinder thing where like it's just like face comes up and it's or Grindr where it's just other guys. It's just action shots. So he showed us a photo he got from a guy, and it's just his rear end, naked rear end, and his garbage hanging and all from behind. And then
He's bulldogging him.
yeah, and then he just said, "Howdy."
This is an app he pays for?
Yes, I don't know. I couldn't believe it.
Which one's for the fellas? Is that the Tinder or the Grindr?
Grinder, and so this is a much more aggressive. This is just down to business. This is just like, here's what you're looking at. You're gonna,
like cut to the
So
chase.
it's a step above Grindr. It's a different name.
Oh yeah, I don't even know what it is, and it's just I do it.
Look, I think that is, look, I get it. It's like cut to the chase. Why the small talk? Are we going to do it or not?
Yeah, it's just like, this is what I got going on right now. Where are you at?
This is what you're going to be dealing with. Are you in or are you out? Because I got to move on.
And that's the girls, like the girls don't get that. The girls need to be talked to and like emotional, and then that turns them on. But the guy on guy thing is just like, look, I know what I want. I know what I like. Let's just do it or not do it.
Sure.
Huh.
Right?
Sure.
Boy.
Right?
And he says howdy, right?
But by the way, just
That's the funniest
super
part.
revealing. And then, howdy.
Howdy.
Now, Will, did he tell you about this or did you ask for visual proof?
No, he was excited. This is my buddy, and he's like, wait till you see what I got going on this year. You're not gonna be able to believe it. And I'm like, okay,
This year.
And then he shows me that, and I'm like, oh my god, it was so
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Just there it is.
God, it's so funny though. It's so funny.
Sean, is your life as exciting currently?
Any toppers?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do. I think we all have something interesting to talk about, which is our docuseries on Max.
Yes.
Right, coming out. that we
SmartLess
shot.
on the road.
Yeah.
SmartLess on the Road. It's a 6-part documentary series on Max.
I mean,
What's the date?
if so, the 23rd?
May
Yes?
20th, May 23rd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay.
and it's called SmartLess on the Road.
And it's
Yes,
just
right,
basically us three idiots. Yeah, we're traveling around because we took this show on the road to a bunch of different theaters around the country, and it's us traveling and living in the same hotel room and eating and.
I mean, if
flying
you thought you
and-
were bored with us before,
this
wait
will
till
put you
watch
right
this.
out.
Yeah, this is guaranteed. when you see us flying.
Some people use white noise to sleep.
It's not. It's not. There is actual. I think we have some shots, Jay, of you eating, which I think fans will be fascinated
Those are fun.
by.
Yeah. Well, it's rare. It's like sighting Yeti.
Yeah,
up in
it is. Yep. And there's a lot of talking about eating.
Yeah.
We've got plenty of shots of you guys eating. I mean, good Lord. I mean,
and then cold. It was all cold. It was
Jason, you used to like, Jason ended up being the default ordering room service guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed one thing, and I didn't want to bring it up, but often I would notice when you were placing the order, you had full bone. Just ordering food.
The forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his body responding, getting so excited about getting food inside of it.
Yeah. So it is. We like the show, but we're biased. But we hope you do too.
Yeah. May 23rd on Max. It's I don't know. It's us. It's just this, right?
Yeah. You get to see what we talk. You get to see us instead of just hear us.
Yeah. So we do these interviews on stage. Great guests. But then it's also all the travel in between the spots. So check it out. That's on Max. It's called SmartLess on the Road.
Yes, and Sean, speaking of doing the show and being on the road, didn't somebody recently just call you? Didn't somebody mistake you for Jason?
Oh, that's
I
right.
just texted you guys an hour ago.
That's right.
I was walking on Broadway, and some guy goes, "Hey, it's Jason from SmartLess," and I just smiled and I said, "Super gay." I go, "Hi."
And then you pushed your stomach out, right? Is that what you told me?
I unzipped my zipper and I stuck my fat stomach out. I said, Ozark. That's all I did. Right down Broadway. But isn't that funny? I'm like, what? I don't look anything like you.
Watch Ozark, girl.
Hey, girl.
I just did, what I was doing this morning? I was talking to a New York Times journalist about you, Sean. He's doing some sort of a profile on you. And so, listener, when a journalist does profile on a famous friend, they'll usually call you to get a little background.
Oh, wait, is that why they called you?
Yeah. So he was asking me to kind of fill in some of the blanks. And no, it's cool. I was really well compensated for it. No. And it was, you know what I discovered, Sean? I had nothing planned to say. I found that it was very easy to say nice things about.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Usually you have to kind of dig for some flowery verse about a friend, and it just all fell out.
They called and they said, "Would you be willing to say something for this piece about Sean?" And I said, "No, thank you."
Yeah. Because what did Mom tell you? If you don't have something nice
to say.
Yeah. Just
do you know
say
that?
pass.
Do you know that Betty Davis thing from David Letterman? Did I tell you guys that?
No.
So I'm not going to get this right, but it's something like this. Betty Davis, like a year before she died, was on David Letterman, and David goes, "So what was it like working with Joan Crawford?" And the audience laughed because he knew they knew he was kind of prying her, poking at her, and she goes, "David, my mother always said to say something good about the dead. Joan Crawford's dead? Good."
Wow.
That's very well done.
That's pretty great.
Because they knew
that.
Right.
I'll take that. Well, guys, can we segue while we're talking about legends?
Sure.
Oh my God, yeah. Good segue.
Let's segue now. We've got a fella today that we could learn a thing or two from. Hopefully he'll give us some pointers on career longevity, creative relevance, reinvention, and overall swagger. He's in the music side of showbiz and has been one of the more recognized names around the world for as long as our parents have been alive. He has over 900 songs to his credit, recorded over 130 albums worldwide. His LP and single sales collectively number more than 90 million, and he is the only artist in history to have a song in the Billboard Top 100 during 7 consecutive decades. He's a legend.
Wait a minute.
He's a friend. And most importantly, be cool, because he's my father-in-law.
Yes, I know.
Oh, my God. No way. Oh, my God.
Dad.
No way. Hello, Dad.
Can I talk and get rid of the cardboard?
You can talk and get rid of the cardboard.
Okay,
there
hi, guys.
he is.
Oh, look at Mr. Paul Anka.
Guys.
Wow.
Hi, Pops.
Hello, I guess this is the end of the Canadian quota, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, during my incredible research, do you know Will? He's got a day named after him in Canada. There's Paul Anka Day in Canada.
I'm not
what
surprised.
Do you have?
I'm
What,
nothing.
Tell me what, do you have an hour
I'm
or
nothing.
anything?
There are a few tiers. Paul is like a few tiers above me in the sort of the Canadian hierarchy when it comes to legends. I have a long way to go. I have nothing named. I'm not surprised. Paul, I can't believe, first of all, I can't believe that Jason and I have been friends for so long, and this is the first time we've met.
Is that true?
I know. I've never met you
Well,
either.
we could say that about a lot of people.
I know.
Paul, listen, Paul's a hard guy to nail down. He's always moving. He's always on the road. Where are you now? I'll bet you're not in L.A.
I'm in Florida. I'm doing a tour. I just finished the Hard Rock Casino,
See?
finished Palm Beach, and I'm on my way to Naples on the completion of this wonderful event for me.
What do you do about 30? You still do about 30 weeks a year, something like that.
I do about 70 days. 70 days. That's all I want to do. Yeah.
And you've welcomed the 80s now, right? I mean, and you still, Will, you're not going to be moving at that age at all.
I know.
Yeah,
It's so impressive. And again, Paul, it should be noted that I like your son-in-law. I love your daughter. Amanda.
Singing to the choir, Will. Singing to the choir.
I know. And I talked to her probably more than I talked to JB, thankfully.
It's not probably, that's a definite.
That's a definite. and she talks so glowingly about how much, first of all, through her life, but all like when she was little, but even now, how insanely busy you are and how I'm going to say industrious, but you never stop moving.
Yeah, it's
what is the
unbelievable.
secret to doing it for so long, to being able to have that kind of motor, I guess?
Well, if you stop moving, will they throw dirt on you? Mm-hmm. That's number one,
That's
right?
a good one.
And I've learned
That's going to be our
from-
new logo.
I learned that from the age 16. And as long as you've got a passion for what you're doing, and when you started the way that I did out of Canada, hey, as long as the dream's alive, the passion and the energy, you keep doing it. You know, unfortunately, you stop like I've seen many of my buddies do, and you see a lot of TV, read a lot of books, and die. So I love what I'm doing. I'm constantly changing. I'm in the middle now of doing my documentary. We've got a Broadway show that we're doing, some with writers, and it's just something that I love to do, man. You know, when you leave Canada and you make it, you're really grateful because nothing was happening up there other than Moose Jerky when I left, you know.
Moose Jerky. Hey, is that a thing?
You guys don't know. You know, you guys, I respect all of you, obviously, but when I did start, there was no opportunity, you know, and I get lucky as a kid. I leave Ottawa, 150,000 people at that time. And I hit, and the luck's been continuing since then. And I said, I'm not going to lose this. And then you go through the Rat Pack in Vegas and the Mafia, and you learn what to do, what not to do. And then you say to yourself, you're being asked to really give this up. So that's pretty much been the motivation, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, so I want to get into this. You come out of Ottawa, or as I used to refer to it, the town that fun forgot.
Yeah.
And so,
And it's never seen since.
and to all our fans in Ottawa, I only say that as a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. It's a joke, so relax. Hold back your comments. But you come out of Ottawa, as we know, these guys don't know, the nation's capital in Canada, but a small town. And you were, but you didn't do this, Paul, when you were 25.
No, he had before the age of 18, he had 5 top 20 hits.
Before what?
This
Before
is
18?
the thing.
Before 18.
Before 18. This is what blows me away, Paul. Talk to us about how, as a young guy, you had all this success. It blows my mind. When I first read that years ago, I couldn't believe it.
Well, you're 14, you're 15, you're in school, you're in grade 10 for 2 years, so you get the hint.
Wait a second. You repeated 10th grade?
Yeah, twice.
Oh,
so I'm
really?
I'm in a class with a bunch of girls with my friend Tommy, his family were the big ski champs, and we wanted the quickest way out. So we took typing and shorthand. I got thrown out of a shorthand class and took music. So now I get interested in music. And one day I start writing poetry, and I win awards for my writing. I get thrown into a music class. I take piano lessons. And I start becoming this real big fan of, all the rhythm and blues stuff. The black music experience, as it is now, drove everything back then, as it did way back to the 30s.
Yeah.
So I get hooked on music, and I just start writing away. Now, I'm playing hockey like all of us attempted to do. I got tired of ducking because I was very short. I played goalie. So I said, it's not in my future. And in my day, those guys didn't wear helmets. They didn't wear masks, and there was no glass around the rink. So you can imagine how dangerous it was. So I said, it won't be hockey, so I'm going to just write songs. So I start writing songs. So I'm hooked. I'm loving the music. I had a paper route, and then I got a job at IGA Food Stores because I heard if you won the contest, you'd get to go to New York where all the music was. Because the music business was in its infancy stage back there. There were not a lot of
What
labels.
year-ish? What year-ish are
This
we?
is 1955.
Okay.
So I win the award for collecting soup wrappers for Campbell Soup. And me and 40 kids from across Canada put on a train with soggy sandwiches. And 15 hours later, I'm at the YMCA in New York. I said, man, this is it. I'm coming back. So I go back home, and I said to my dad, look, give me some money. I had some saved up from my paper route. I'm going back to New York. I've got a connection to see a record company. Yeah. And I go down, I walk into ABC Paramount Records, which had ABC TV network just starting out. I sing for Don Costa. He was the A&R guy. And like all of us guys, success has a lot of fathers. And he was the guy that made it happen. He said, where are you from? Blah, 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 blah. I told him, he said, bring your parents down here. We want to sign you. You're too young. So I fly my parents down. They signed a contract. And May of that year, I'm in a record studio doing Diana. 2 other songs.
That was a song you wrote for the gal that didn't want to hear it, right?
Yeah, that was it. And then 2-3 months later, American Bandstand started. I'm on there in the Ed Sullivan Show, and that was it. It took off from there, and my life changed.
Wait, you did the Ed Sullivan Show?
I mean,
yes.
Yeah? What was that like? How was that?
Scared to death.
Yeah, because that was like the biggest show then.
Well, that was it. Television back then was 3 channels. Color TV, right. My dad would bring out a piece of plastic with a blue sky, red in the middle, and green on the bottom, and he'd tape it to the TV, and that was color television.
Come on.
And in Ottawa, it didn't start till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was like news, a cooking show, and maybe wrestling once a week. I mean, it was non-existent.
And millions and millions and millions of people watching because there were no other choices.
Amazing.
Well, it was all radio before that. I used to sit in Ottawa next to a radio and listen to everything until television came. God, am I aging myself?
Could you imagine asking our kids to sit in front of a big box that has sound coming out of it and entertain yourself for a few hours just listening to it?
No, they wouldn't.
They'd look at us like we're nuts.
No, obviously not now. But that's all that there was, right? I mean, at the time, so like it felt like I got to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, I grew up. I was born in '70, so it's not. But I do remember as a kid on my clock radio. I was just talking about with my buddy Eli. I used to be able to get the what was the station out of Buffalo, and I could get Sabres games.
The Hound Dog. Yes, I know the station.
And I could get them on my. So I could, when I was told to go to bed, I could still hear the Buffalo. I could, as a Canadian, Paul, you know this. When you get that radio signal out of the States, it feels like a whole other world. You can't believe it, right?
Everything came at you. There was nothing to watch. I mean, it was just so boring. There was nothing going on. I was listening to Fats Domino and everybody else.
All right, so Diana gets you signed. That takes off a bit, and then so that was your first number one hit. And you're 14, 15?
First number one hit, yeah.
Okay.
God,
and then
God,
what were the other 4 that were the 5 top 20s before you were 18?
So at 15 you got Diana. Then my dad wanted me home, and then a promoter called up, and my second was You Are My Destiny, but my dad wanted me to finish school. And I talked the promoter into let me live with him. He had a bunch of drugstores, Izzy and Irving Feld. So with You Are My Destiny, I move in with them down in Washington. Then I had, there was Lonely Boy, Puppy Love, I Love You Baby. There was a string of hits.
Really quick, Paul. The guy, I'm doing a play here in New York, and the guy who wrote it, Doug Wright, and my other actress friend, Deb Monk, wrote a song called Puppy Love Doggy Style.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Paul will see them in court.
Let's get your attorneys.
I offered it to Frank Sinatra. When I started working for the mob in Vegas, he wanted me to write for him. And I said, well, I can give you Puppy Love. We'll change it to Love is a Bitch. I was thrown into that world because I worked for the guys. I mean, a lot of people, they fantasize of what it was about, but it was real. They controlled everything.
Talk a little bit about how that happened. How did you end up? So, well, first of all, you wrote... Talk about, you wrote a very popular song, one of the great songs of all time for Frank Sinatra, right?
My Way, yes. Well, that
Yeah.
came later. You know what happened?
Oh wait,
was,
you wrote My Way?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
That's
so.
crazy.
wait, you have me thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
amazing.
So
No, I didn't know that.
Well, so let's go back before we get into My Way. Then let's go
Sure.
back into how you start working with those guys and working with the mob.
Well, I'm making lots of money and I've got lots of hits.
Sure.
And everywhere that I had to play, the mob ran everything. They ran all the clubs, all the distributors, labels, all the
Were you
restaurants.
the youngest to play Copacabana?
Well, I became, with those hits, I became the youngest to work this mob place called the Copa, which was huge.
Yeah.
And I started working it as the youngest kid, and I must have done weeks there, and there was kids around the block, blah, blah.
What are you, 17, 18, 19?
I was about 19 years old. Well, I was in Vegas first. I played Vegas at 18 with Sophie Tucker, and then America's Favorite Group. And from there, I went to the Copacabana in New York, and I started there very, very young, and I had a bunch of hits going into that. And then the bosses said, would you like to go work Vegas with the Rat Pack?
Now, you know that these guys are in the mob at this point.
You totally know who you're working for. You're told to behave yourself.
Wow.
These are the guys, and when you see them, blah, blah. I mean, there's a real strict education as to behavior, what to wear, how to act. Me, Bobby Darin, Frankie Avalon. So we knew who we were working for. When the word came out, go to Vegas, I fly out there, spent a lot of time there, you know, saw Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe, that whole thing. And I start working for the boys and with the Rat Pack at the Sands Hotel.
What time? What year is this?
That's
Paul?
1961, 62, somewhere in there.
You're too young to gamble.
Couldn't go in the building. I had to look through the windows until I was old enough at 21. Could not go in.
You didn't have a fake ID or something like that to get in there?
He's famous. He's Paul Anka at this point.
Oh, right.
Those guys knew everything. They knew
Right.
everything of who was in there, who was allowed in, who wasn't.
I would have died so quickly if I was part of the mob because I always thought like it'd be so cool, like oh, these guys are like, I don't know, there's something glamorous about that life
Yeah.
that I think everybody
You would have
like.
been like that annoying dog in the cartoons that just runs circles around the big dog. Where are we going? And they would have stepped on
Sean,
put you in a
Sean,
trash.
meeting
what are you guys
the
talking
mob-
about now?
You meeting the mob would immediately be like the scene would be you meeting them and immediately like all those guys doing one of those funny scenes about how they're going to bury you, where they're going to bury you. Like, you know what I mean? Who's got to
And I
get
would
rid
have
of
been
your
like,
stupid
great,
body?
And we knew. Listen, you know, it was such a small community. You knew when somebody got smoked.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know when a game was
Were
rigged.
you ever scared about that?
No, ever. I'm scared going there now. I'm
Really?
scared going to Vegas now with what's there. I mean, believe me, you can't trust anything that's going on there now, from the streets to your room.
What would be the main thing that you would have to watch out to not do when you're conversing with the mob? Like what would get you in trouble?
Well, respect was everything.
Yeah.
Okay, what you said was everything. Respect was everything. You never wanted to get out of line or do anything in destroying a room, trying to do something that was out of line.
Yeah.
You got to remember, all these guys were older than I was. The Rat Pack were older. Carl Cohen was my rabbi. And Carl Cohen was the guy out of Cleveland. He was the sweetest guy ever. And he watched over me. You know, those were the guys.
And were they like father figures and brothers
Yes.
types? Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, Carl Cohen, he was the guy, I'm going to jump ahead, that knocked the teeth out of Frank Sinatra.
Oh,
I was there that
This is a
night.
rabbi. Rabbi lit up Sinatra.
This was Carl Cohen. And he was the nicest, salt of the earth type of guy. And every time I needed something or I had a problem, I would go to Carl Cohen and he would watch over me. Because I was this kid, but I was making money for them. It was very freaky for them because they were used to Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis. And all of a sudden, this kid is wandering around doing business, singing these cockamamie songs. You know, they're doing Cole Porter, and I'm going, I'm so young and you're so old.
Right. So then the Rat Pack, they're what? They're in their mid 30s, 40s, while
yeah.
you're hitting 20.
Yeah, I would say close to 40s. Yeah, absolutely.
And were they welcoming to you? How long did it take for them to kind of bring you under their wing and kind of show you the ropes a little bit?
Right away. You see, they all had a vested interest in whatever sense. And anybody that made money for them, you know, they had the swagger. Those were the guys. Sinatra made Las Vegas, all those guys. Everybody showed up only because of him, and then the gambling. So when I hit the scene and I'm making money for the mob, the word is out, be nice to the kid. That was my nickname, the kid. And we'd all hang out in the steam room, this little steam room in the back of the hotel. On the back of our robes, we had our nicknames. You know, Sammy was Smokey the Bear. Dean was Dino. My name
So
was
there's a
the
bear
Kid.
in the steam.
And they embraced me right away. Right away.
Very nice.
And I just watched and learned. They were amazing. That education that I got at those early years, you couldn't get today. There was no technology, no tricks. It was all real stuff. And those guys were the real deal. It was fun, and professionalism. I learned so much from those guys.
Then how did, not to jump too far ahead,
Sure.
but then how did My Way come around for you to deliver to Sinatra?
Well, you know, for years in there, he'd always tease me about writing for him. Now, I'm still young. I'm scared to death. I'm intimidated.
Yeah.
And I figure if I'm ever going to write something, it better be good because that'll be my one shot. But I'm in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And I moved to Italy, and I'm living over there because the Beatles hit, which I'll tell you that later how I got them over here. And I come back, and I'm still working. And in the late 60s, we're down in Florida at the Fontainebleau Hotel. And that was the hang place for all of us and all the mob guys, the Fontainebleau, which was the model for Vegas, by the way. Caesar's Palace, Steve Wynn, all those guys learned from the aesthetics of the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami.
Okay.
That's where that preacher guy, his wife got that pool boy from there. I just watched that documentary about it. It was the Fontainebleau. Unrelated. All right,
thanks,
sorry,
bro.
Paul. Sorry.
So, good friend. So the preacher boy, he was also around. I'm covering everybody here today. So I'm at the Fontainebleau.
Go back. What was the foundation of Vegas? What?
Well, Steve Wynn, who's responsible for let's call it the second chapter of Las Vegas, genius of Steve Wynn.
Yeah.
He and the guy at Circus and the mob who lent all the money, the Teamsters Union, they were going to build Caesar's Palace. And I had 5% of Caesar's because my friend Nate Jacobson out of Baltimore came to me, who I'd invested with, and he said, blah, 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 we're going to build this hotel. We want you to be a part of it. Well, my people said, you don't want to own anything because the government will be all over you. So they all wanted to build this amazing hotel, Caesar's Palace. How are we going to build it? What's it going to look like? The model, the aesthetic model and everything in it was taken from the Fontainebleau Hotel, the inspiration for that aesthetic look of Caesar's, which was the cheapest investment in real estate and the biggest bang of real estate in the country. It only cost them about $18 million, if you can believe
Caesar's?
to build it, yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, there I am in Florida. Sinatra's having dinner. He invites me to dinner. I think he's running with Mia Farrow at the time. And he told me, he said, I'm quitting show business. I'm tired. Rat Pack's over. I've had enough of this, and I'm going to rest. I'm doing one more album with Don Costa. Don Costa, as I mentioned earlier, was my producer. And I introduced him to Sinatra in the 60s, and he did that amazing album, Sinatra and Strings. And he said, I'm quitting, but I'm doing one more album. You never wrote me a song. So I can't believe it, Sinatra quitting. So I go back to New York, where I'm living at the time. I'm sitting up at my piano, 12 midnight, thunderstorm outside. I'm saying, Sinatra, retiring. I can't believe it. I sit at my typewriter, paid off from sitting in grade 10 for 2 years, and I'm typing away metaphorically. And now the end is near. So in 5 hours, I finished the song.
That's crazy.
So now I call him up at Caesar's, and I said, sir, I've got the song, blah, blah, blah. He said, bring it out. I fly out to Caesar's Palace, go to his dressing room. I sing him the song. He says, kid, I love it. I'm going to do it. 2 months later, he calls me from a record studio in L.A. Listen to this, kid. And he takes the phone, and he puts it up to a speaker, and I hear My Way for the first time.
How old were you?
25 years old.
25
I'm not
years
kidding.
old.
I'm getting chills.
I know, that's amazing.
Unbelievable, Paul.
So the lyrics were quite literal. That you just took. It's like for me, the end is near, and I did it my way. So that came from his telling you he's done.
Exactly.
Right.
Metaphoric. I wrote it as if
Amazing.
he were writing it. In other words, I would never use ate it up and spit it out and stuff like that. But that's very indigenous to Sinatra style.
Right.
That's amazing.
That blows my mind in a way that like I said, it quite literally gave me chills. And then the chills were gone when Sid Vicious recorded it years later.
Sid Nancy.
I felt more than chills when I first heard it. Scorsese called, and they said, we're using this Sid Vicious. I'd never heard the record. I said, is this a prank? He says, no, this is a real guy. So I heard it. I did some investigating. I said, the guy was sincere. He went to Paris. He was ripping up amps and trying to get the sound. I said, who am I to stand in the way of someone's expression of a song? And I granted the license.
That was so crazy. Jason, you know about that, right? The Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols recorded My Way?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
And speaking of Scorsese, I don't know if you guys know this. I wonder if our listener does. That classic that opening shot in Goodfellas, that long tracking, that not tracking, Steadicam shot through the kitchen and all this other stuff. That was a shot Scorsese came up with as a result of watching a documentary about Paul, where a handheld camera followed him all the way through a kitchen, right? And then up onto stage?
Yes,
Paul, is that right?
I produced a film with the National Film Board. You guys know how important their work is. Mm-hmm. And they came to me in the early 60s, want to do this documentary, first time ever on a pop artist, blah, blah, blah. I said, let's do it. So we did it, and we won a lot of awards, the Venice Award, New York Critic Awards, and it became this really acclaimed piece of
really cool.
verite on a pop artist, and Scorsese used it, the Beatles used it in terms of the application and how it was directed, et cetera. And that shot was taken from the Copacabana.
I used to do scene study with this guy, Vito Anaformo, the former boxer, and he's in that shot at the very end when Ray Liotta comes in, and Ray Liotta says hey to him, and he says, hey,
Vito.
Anyway, he used to be my scene study partner years ago.
I want to know something. I want to know, Jason and Paul, at what point, Jason, after you met your gorgeous, amazing, wonderful, incredible wife, Amanda, did you go, oh my God, your dad is Paul Anka, and then you're thinking, oh my God, my father-in-law is Paul Anka,
and I'll never live up to. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
and then at what point did it go away? Where you're just like, okay, I can't stay in this frame of mind anymore, and I'm just like, that's my dad. That's my dad.
I knew because I knew her name when I met her when she introduced herself. I was like, oh. I don't remember if I even asked if she was related. I think I just assumed. And so I was, I thought, well, if this goes a couple of more dates, I might get to meet this guy, and I'll be nervous about that. And then I think, Paul, was the first time we met at the Plaza Athénée in New York. I feel like it might
first, and then you hung at the house up in Mulholland.
Wow. Yeah. And,
Jason remembers that, but no vacation with his friend Sean. Go ahead, Jay.
No.
With his friend what?
He doesn't remember the glory holes either from us.
He put me to ease very, very quickly. He's obviously very used to being famous and having people be intimidated when they meet him, and so he's got that down where he just disarms any kind of armed situation you might create. He's just as you can
Paul,
tell.
I mean, you and the way that you talk about these incredible, iconic, not just people but moments in time and eras that you inhabited. You weren't just an observer; you were part of. You alluded to the fact that you were in Europe with because of the Beatles, or they were big at the time. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I'm writing away, but I'm realizing. While I'm in the business, all I kept hearing is, this may not last. They come and they go. They come and they go. And I'm saying, they may not last. Okay. I might be back sucking on that Moose Jerky in Canada in 2 years. So now I said, well, I got to start writing songs for other people. Because I was a writer. I wasn't sold as they groomed me up to look cute, but I was not a good-looking guy.
But your voice is undeniable.
Well, at least we had the voice going for us.
Yeah.
So I'm singing away, and I started writing for other people. I wrote Buddy Holly's last hit, It Doesn't Matter Anymore. And, we lost him on one of our tours in the plane crash. And it started there. And then I'm writing for Connie Francis. Then I go to Europe, and I'm asked to be in a movie called The Longest Day for Darryl F. Zanuck, classic war film. I'm in the film, and look, I'm not an actor, but I'm in the film, and I say to Zanuck, hey, I'm a writer. I'm telling everybody. I'm a writer. You need a song? Open the fridge. The light went on. I'll write for you. So now with Zanuck, I go home. I'm inspired. I write The Longest Day for the film.
Yeah.
Then I meet a guy called Johnny Carson. He's starting this TV show for a year. He said, but I want a new song. I write the Tonight Show theme.
You're joking me.
Did you not know
Wait a
that,
minute.
Sean?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You're joking me.
Yeah.
No,
That is
I wish I weren't. I
crazy.
put Amanda through school until Jason took over.
It's the most
Oh my
recognized
God.
TV theme song in history. It's been performed
No way.
1,400,000 times.
You wrote that
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, writing it's one thing, but getting it out there, I got thrown off from Mitch Skitch Henderson, who was a part of the show, and when Johnny came in, who was new, and I'd given him a job on my TV show, Johnny.
Wow.
Skitch Henderson said, I don't want some kid taking over here. We're not using the song. And when Johnny called me and said, I'm sorry, I love it, but I can't use it because Skitch has been here, blah, blah, blah.
Goddamn
He
Skitch.
said, yeah,
real
Skitch,
sketchy.
the switch artist. So I said to Johnny, I said, look, I'll give you half the song, half the publishing, half the writing, and if anything happens, you're going to earn half of everything with me.
Wow.
So a day goes by, and he calls up with his manager and says, you got it. Now, they don't know it's going to be on, 30 years?
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Either did I.
Uh-huh.
So he says, the song is back on. Da, da, da,
Yeah.
da.
Da, da.
And every night we listened to for 30 years. And I gave
Unbelievable.
half the song away, but I had nothing anyway. So
Well, you had half of something instead of 100%
And then
of
Skitch
nothing.
went
huh?
on to be Sean's haircutter, right? Sean is not the guy who does your hair. What's his name?
Skitcho.
Skevo.
Skitcho. Sorry. I thought it
So
was
then I go to
Skitcho.
Europe. I go to Europe, and I had a whole career in Europe. I went to Japan when I was, what?
Yeah, what's this?
18?
You lived in Italy, you just said.
Yeah, I
Well,
lived in
didn't-
Italy.
I didn't know that.
Everything. Well, when the Beatles hit, let me go to that. I'm working the Olympia Theater, and I'm really loving the culture, and I'm loving Europe, and I'm touring all over the place from Japan to Europe. And I go to see a friend of mine at the Olympia, and on the underbill from my friend it says the Beatles. And I go,
Watch your mic, Paul. You're hitting the mic with your hand.
I says the Beatles. Huh? So I'm sitting there watching the show, and the guy, ladies and gentlemen, here's the Beatles. And these guys come on, and they're doing these cover songs. And I'm looking at these guys, shirts, ties, long hair, and they're singing away. And as a musician, I'm going, God, there's something here. So I go backstage, and I meet them, and they're talking to me, and, oh, we love what you're doing. And so they're saying, we want to do what you're doing. We want to publish and write and produce the music, and blah, blah. And I strike it up with these Beatles. And then I go to London, and I think they started with a hit. And I'm having drinks with them over there, and we're talking and rapping. And I come home to New York, where I'm living, and I go to Normie Weiss and Sid Bernstein, who are my agents. I said, there's these guys in England called the Beatles. You got to sign them. Now, you have to remember, we're not in a media-driven society.
Right.
Pop music is still in its infancy stage.
Right.
Nobody had any idea what was going on in Europe. And I'm pounding these guys to go get them.
Like rock and roll just started, right?
Just started, infancy stage. So long and short, they go over and they sign the Beatles and bring them over in 64 on Ed Sullivan.
Yeah.
And that was the start of it all. Wow. So they bring them over.
amazing.
You know the story there. I leave and I go to RCA Victor Records, who built this huge sound stage in Rome. And they introduced me to one of the most amazing genius musicians I've ever met called Ennio Morricone.
Oh, yeah, of
You
course.
guys must know that name.
Yeah,
So
of course.
He knew films better than the directors, and he was unbelievable. He starts my career in Italy, and I'm singing and living in Italy. Ogni volta che torno, non vorrei, non vorrei. And I'm out selling the Italians, just in Italian. So I'm living there, and I'm having a career in Italy with Ennio Morricone.
Who are you?
And
I
they've
mean,
got
like, have,
this.
ha-
they've
have you
got
ever?
this- The answer is probably yes. What is it? Have I what? Throw it at me.
I was gonna say, did you ever write a song for the Beatles?
No, they did their own thing. I wish I had.
Yeah.
Do you know Italian?
Yeah, sure. I
You can speak Italian. What else can you do? What are the languages
I
you speak?
recorded in Spanish, recorded in Japanese. I lived in Germany and Weisswurst, Schnurl, Sauerkraut, und drei Liebe. Had a career in Germany. Jo, wo gibst denn das? I get up in the morning at 9 with this strict German woman, Sigrid Folkman. Now, Paul, you will put it in your tongue in the front. Weißt wer? No, in the tongue. I hadn't even had breakfast yet, and I'm worried about my tongue. And I sat with her 5 days a week learning German. And I loved it over there. It's a great country. Very cool
It's
country.
beautiful. Good
Yeah.
That's how I met Scotty, by the way. Anyway, so
What,
if
with your
you,
tongue?
I want to know about.
I thought you were going to go back to embracing the bear in the steam room.
I want to stick with the tongue.
Wait, love,
Yes.
love never felt so good. That song. I don't know if
Michael
Jane,
Jackson.
yeah, Michael Jackson, but and then Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
Re-recorded
and Drake,
it with,
and talk to us about the collaborations, the duets with some of these folks. Is that something that you'd love to do?
I started somewhere in there. I said, I got to meet some other people and write with them because I love the experience. Anyway, I start with, Michael McDonald, Burt Backer, a bunch of talented people, good friends. May Burt rest in peace. And this guy, a publicist, kept bringing Michael Jackson around. And I knew the family from Caesars. Joe would bring him in. They watched Sinatra and me, Dean Martin. And I saw this family grow up. So he said, Michael's starting over at Sony, and he wants to write and be on your Sony album. And I'd already had everybody slotted in the album, and I had 2 slots open. And I'm living in Carmel at the time. And Michael flies up with this guy, and we start writing together. And you knew right away with a guy like Michael how talented he was. Now, unlike everyone else, he didn't play an instrument. It was all in the head. It was all these noises. It was like working with a bird. And I knew, but the way that this guy had it down, he knew what he wanted and he knew what he was about. So we sit
Paul,
in the
you sound
studio.
just like him.
Yeah, thank you very much. I do 20 minutes of that in my act every night. So we start writing. In the middle of the process, which is interesting, his record, Thriller, or whatever the first one was, starts to take off.
Off the wall.
And Michael goes into second gear of Michael, really into his career, really into being very professional. But he steals the tapes out of the studio in Los Angeles, and I couldn't complete the songs with him because he had taken the tapes. Something happened to your face, Jason. I think you're growing an appendage.
I grew a second face.
Oh,
Look at
my
that
There's your
pretty girl.
God.
second eldest.
There's your
Look.
daughter,
Oh my
Amanda.
God, Daddy, you're tanner than Will.
Hey,
my
Rainbow.
God.
First of all, Amanda,
Here she comes.
Hey,
with the
honey.
health notes.
I'm just saying, I love you all. You're very tan. You look very cute.
Amanda, Amanda, don't go anywhere yet. I can't believe this is the first time meeting your dad. I love your dad. I can't.
Yeah.
I now
Yeah,
know
can
why
you
you've been
believe they've
keeping
never
me
met?
away,
I could
keeping
talk
us
to him
away
for hours.
from him. We love your dad,
Sean
Amanda.
didn't know about the Tonight Show.
Listen,
know.
he came to a father-daughter dinner up at our Sundays, and it took the house down.
Yeah,
I
So we
can't-
need to invite him back.
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
a big hit everywhere he goes.
By the way, I love you all. Willie and Sean, I'm crushed that you're away.
I know.
I
We
know.
miss
We
you. I
love
love
you.
you.
We're
I
gonna
miss
see you. I can't wait. We're gonna see you very soon. But I'm
I'm
miss
so
you too.
excited. Daddy,
Yeah.
I miss you. I love you.
I'll see you at the party, remember, next week.
Yes, at your party.
coming
oh my
to
God,
dinner.
That's right. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I love you guys.
Bye. I love you too.
Bye.
Bye,
Mandy.
Amanda.
Paul, will you be my dad? Okay, so wait, I want to get back to Michael Jackson. The tapes. So Michael Jackson took the tapes or something? What did you say?
He stole the tapes from the studio, and they called me. I mean, I hate being negative because he's a talented guy. In the 80s, Sunset Sound, they called me up and said, Mr. Anka, Michael came and took your tapes. Now, I've got the tapes are gone. I can't finish.
But the tapes of what? Of songs that you were working on with him or songs that he recorded?
3 songs that we wrote together.
Okay, got it.
I'll to give you the payoff in a second.
Oh.
So I've got all of these songs, the 3 songs. My tapes are gone, and now I'm in Lawyerville. And I'm not litigious. I think the worst thing you can do in life takes the eye off the ball is get into litigation if you can avoid it. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
tapes are gone. I'll leave a hunk out. The lawyers decide to convince him, give him back the tapes. So he gives me back the tapes, but he's gone. I can't finish the project. Now, this is the 80s. The years go by. And what happens when he comes back on the This Is It tour? I get a call from Harvey over at TMZ. He said, Paul, there's a Michael Jackson record out called This Is It, and we think you wrote it, and it's his tour, it's the name of the show, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, the documentary that he was shooting when he passed
Right.
away. Yeah.
I said, well, Harvey, let me do some homework. So I get a hold of the record, and what happened was the original title was called I Never Heard. This was called This Is It. When I hear the record, the first line is, This is it, here I stand. They took the first lyric, turned it into the tour title, and indeed, it was the song that we wrote together. Well, now the shit hits the fan.
This is only like this is in 2000. This wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, exactly. So now we get the same lawyers on the phone again, and there's a big conference call. Blah, 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 what are you doing? It's our song. Did you, lawyers, we didn't know, blah, blah. I said, look, let's make it real simple. You're stuck. Your tour is named. You got a record coming out in a week. We'll make this very sweet. I want half of everything or you're not going to put it out. Well, we got everything. So then after This Is It came out, I got a call from the guy that was running Epic Records, L.A. Reid. He said, did you write a song called Love Never Felt So Good with Michael? I said, yes. He says, well, it's coming out with Timberlake and Michael. I said, well, what did you do? He says, we found these tapes in his drawer. We thought they were his, and we've made a record out of it. I said, well,
great.
It's going to be half of everything.
Let me give you an address.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing the heavy lifting. Let me give you.
Yeah. That song is fantastic. It's such a good song.
So it comes out, there's that, and then I get a call, Drake, did you write a song? Yes. So he comes over to the house, nice guy, talented Toronto boy, as you know.
Yeah, Toronto guy.
And he said, look, what do we do with this? I said, look, I don't know anything about your world. Culturally, I can't write what you do. But if you want to take this and break the code and put your magic on it and let me hear it, you can put it out. He takes it, what I'd written and what was there with Michael, and he turned it into It Don't Matter to Me, and that was the third record.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Unreal.
So
Crazy stories, huh?
Yeah.
So, you put your head on my shoulder. I mean, Puppy Love, you're having my baby, my way, all this stuff. Every time I think about all the really recognizable songs that you have done, I keep thinking about. I'm gonna ask you about this again, and I would like your take on it, guys. I want him to remember the three tenors. Remember
sure, of course.
Yeah. I want him to do the three crooners because each you got to let's workshop it and find the other two folks. But you've got enough. You've got enough to fill your section of it. In spades. You're
Paul,
just playing your hits.
You could tour. You could do Vegas, as you know. You could do on Broadway. It would be an absolute smash.
Yeah. Who are the other two that would do it with you?
Yeah.
Who would
That's
you do
the
it
big
with?
question. Who are the other twos that leave their ego at the door?
You tell us. You know these guys. You know these players. Who
Well,
do
you know,
wanna tour
Paul, you
with?
just said something really important before you answered that, which is check your ego. And I love hearing you talk because you have been around and seen it all. And I can tell that you don't have time for the bullshit. You don't have that ego in that way. I love that there's an authenticity to it that is so refreshing because we don't have enough. And by the way, I was thinking, you were talking about the mob before. I mean, you're in the talent mafia. You have been doing it and you have been working with and collaborating with people for so freaking long. There's no reason you can't do this now. It would be a crime if you didn't do it.
Well, if you've got time. I mean, you're doing your Broadway show, you're working on the documentary, you're probably writing another book, and you're touring.
Well, I'm touring, and I leave for Asia in May. We're booked right up until next January. You know, the problem is this. You have to have a business mind and an artistic mind in this business. You really do. You got to watch your stuff. And every time I've addressed it, you've got managers in the way, you've got agents in the way, and you've got some artists who are very talented, but that's it. There's no business acumen, and there's threats. They don't want to get on stage with certain performers. They don't want to go through it. They don't get it. And it's a shame. You know who gets it? The country acts get it. The rap artists get it. But there's not many in my milieu that I could really say to you, look, I'd love to bring Julio Iglesias out of retirement or whatever he's doing, okay? Because the Hispanic base in our country politically and everything is huge.
Yeah.
If you could get Tom Jones, Tom has been, had some health issues recently, great voice. There's a few people that I think would work, but you can't get past the agents, the managers.
I'll bet you could.
Yeah.
Well, somebody would have to do it. I just don't. I just don't have any time to press it.
Great. It's a SmartLess tour.
Yeah.
And we're going to get it done.
Guys, why don't the three of us sing all the songs?
I'm open.
Oh,
as long as I'm not responsible for any of the.
Sean, you do the singing, and then Jason and I, what do we do? Well, these two talented guys are doing.
Move the furniture around.
We'll make funny faces on the sides.
You put me on your shoulders.
Oh my God.
I mean, just
we're going to work on it. We're going to come back to you with a proposal on that.
Okay.
It's a great idea.
Now, talk to us about this. How the stamina, the endurance, the longevity. You still touring like crazy. literally, how do you do that?
Health.
Yeah, but how are you able to stay so healthy and have so much? What's the ritual?
Yeah.
Look,
I mean, walk us through your day.
it's so basic. Look, I know what you do. You run, you watch what you eat. Amanda's always been like that.
Yep.
I literally, from hanging around those guys in Vegas with the smoking, with the drinking and all the bullshit, hey, if that's your thing, do it. I couldn't sing if I drank too much.
Right.
I couldn't function if I did too much. If I tried a little of this and that, you're goddamn right.
Yeah.
Made up my mind and made choices. But when I get up in the morning, I have my lemon juice. I eat blueberries. I have my olive oil with a squeeze of lemon. I don't have a big breakfast. I don't eat white bread. I can give you a boring list. This body is not a fluke, okay?
Yeah.
This is it. So
Even Paul Anka's quoting Richard Ehrlich.
Is that Richard Ehrlich? Yeah. Was that where I heard it?
This body's no
Richard,
fluke.
the great Richard
How's
Ehrlich.
Richard doing?
Tricky Dick is
He's,
good.
he's married, isn't he? He's,
Yeah.
he's
yeah.
sitting on the
Married.
big hill.
Tell Tracy who Richard is.
Richard is one of my best friends and a friend of all four of us? No,
Yeah,
Sean,
sure.
have you met?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Richard.
Anyway,
Love him.
Richard is, I
hi,
love
Dickie.
By the way, it should be noticed, hi, Dick. We should be mentioned that Richard is one of the first SmartLess super fans when we first put out. He was like the first guy to keep texting us and
real
being
supporter.
encouraging. He's such a sweetheart of a guy.
You want to buy a house? Fine.
Yeah, by the way, you want to buy a house in LA? Get Richard Ehrlich.
Yeah, he's the guy.
You'd be in good
See these
shape.
blueberries, guys?
Yeah.
I eat them every
Yeah.
These
day.
guys, he's eating blueberries right now.
That's a
That's how he's
superfood.
getting through this interview.
This is a superfood, okay? I love it. And
Okay.
the olive oil, I'm going to do it now, Paul. I'm doing it every day. I'm going to
You
do
put
olive
it in
oil
a
for
shot
some-
glass and you squeeze a lemon on top of it and drink it.
Done.
Drink it in the
God,
morning.
every-
Before you go to bed, you make sure you have ginger.
I'd rather drink a soda and die early.
Yeah, listen, Sean, you're
Yeah.
not going to make it to Paul's age. You keep having the cornflakes on the tuna fish and
Listen, they're coming up with some stuff from Israel. I'm reading, I read a lot. They've got some stuff now. They're going to turn it a lot back. You're going to live to over 100 years old.
Yeah.
You guys, especially
ready.
kids that were born after 2000. They'll
Yeah.
be living till 125.
Now, what about playing music day to day? Not physically playing music because you're doing that on the stage, but what are you listening to that's keeping you inspired? Do you keep up on new music? Do you have a staple that you listen to that keeps you going? What gets you going?
Yeah, I'm listening to everything eclectically. There's some stuff I'm not interested in, leave it at
Yep.
that. But I'm listening to stuff from, Bruno Mars. I'm listening to Adele. There's some rap stuff, Jay-Z. There's some talented people out there.
Is there anybody that you've always dreamed of writing for or with that you haven't?
Elton John and Sting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Elton's very talented.
Yeah.
I think Sting is very talented.
of course.
I
Yeah.
think Billy Joel is amazing.
Amazing.
You're never going to discount. When you look at the foundation of those doing the business out there, it's all the guys that are close to 80.
Yeah.
Stones are still doing it. There's a ton of them. There's some good stuff out there that I listen I listen to opera music when I want to calm down.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of Sinatra. I listen to everything as long as it's good. If it's good, I'm on. I'm down for it.
Paul, for many reasons, I want to be you when I grow up.
I know.
Get in
We
line.
never grow up, my boy.
Yeah.
We never really grow up. Trust me.
I get that sense, Paul. It's unbelievable. Again, I don't know what Jason. I think he's jealous of you. You've got too much. You've got too much charisma for us, and he knows that we're like Sean and I are going to be like, we got to get rid of Jason. Paul's got to do the podcast with us.
Yeah.
We'll keep it in the family. If you guys want to recast, that's fine. You just got to keep it in the family.
Slip it in.
I got to tell you, I'm so proud of that guy, and I'm not going to lay it on. All of you,
We all are.
of you representing what you do, I'm a fan, okay? And this guy in front of me, and he's been a hell of a father and with those kids. But beyond that, I'm not even going to get into it because it speaks for itself, and I'm not going to embarrass him.
No.
But as proud as he may be of me, that's how proud is Jason. Is that your son-in-law? Everywhere I go, they don't even know who the fuck I am. They're taking a guess, right? But I'm. Listen, whatever you're throwing at me, I'm throwing it back to all.
Well,
three.
I was going to say this, and I was going to bring that up, which was I wanted to mention this earlier. when Amanda started dating, 'cause when he said that he didn't know, that he figured that you were Amanda's dad when he first heard her last name. When Jason and Amanda started dating and then got married, and I don't want to embarrass Jason either, because Sean and I both love him. I give him a lot of shit, but I love him, and he's he's a brother and more than a friend. And how lucky did you feel that you got to have this guy as your son-in-law and in your life? He's a thoughtful, smart, sweet, great dad. All the shit that you said times a million, as you know.
No doubt. He's a brother from another mother.
Yeah.
To all of you guys, because it's the great thing is, as you guys know, it's all real. You're never going to hear anybody say anything, and I never have. And Jason's been through it, man. He's pulled his life together.
Yeah.
You'll never hear anybody say anything derogatory about Jason Bateman.
We had
true.
You had a nice little.
We're
window
still looking,
into,
though. We're
into
still looking.
my
We're
old-
trying
I'll
to find-
find it. I'll find it.
Paul had a nice window into my old life, though. Right when I got married to his daughter, he took me and two buddies. Ehrlich was one of them, Dickie, to Vegas, and he gave me and Richard and Danny Comden and one
The whole Saul Good crew.
Yeah, and we had he showed us his version of Vegas, and it was just incredible. And so you got to see me lubricated, you know.
And Ehrlich was making deals right down to the end.
Oh,
What do
yeah.
you mean $30 for a lap dance? Wait, who's this chick over here? I'm going back to the hotel. I'm not paying that. Sit down,
it was
would you,
very,
Ehrlich?
very
Jenny's listening to this right now going, Richard said he's never been to a strip bar before. This is crazy.
Paul, we've taken a lot of your time, too much of it. You're very, very nice to have come on and done this. Thank you for saying
And Paul,
yes.
next time I'm in Los Angeles, I want to have a dinner and keep talking about everything
Let's
in
do
your
a
life.
dinner. Let's do it, Paul,
fascinating.
please. What a thrill.
I'm down.
We're
I'm
doing
down.
that as soon as you get back.
My mom
Paul.
and dad, my dad who grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, has been a fan of yours. He was born in 38, just outside of Winnipeg. And for him, I'm not kidding, as soon as I'm done, I'm going to get off this thing and I'm going to call my dad and say that we had you on, and he's going to be absolutely blown away. He's going to
That's
be blown
cool,
away.
man. You got a pretty decent hockey team out there, you know.
Yeah, we do.
Not
Decent
bad.
hockey team's right.
That's what we should do. We should go to a hockey game together. Should introduce him to Shanny too.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should.
Do you know what do you know which team in the NHL makes more money than any other team? You guys are hockey savvy.
Toronto?
But let me see.
Toronto?
Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, Toronto Maple Leafs.
Gotta be.
Everybody is way behind. Do you know why Wayne Gretzky never had a curved stick?
Why is that?
Because he always scored on his backhand, and he never wanted the stick curved.
Yeah. Harder.
And I knew
harder.
Wayne when he was a young little fella. I used to
I
fly
bet
him
you
around
did.
on the jet. He was scared to death of private planes. So I knew him when.
Wow.
So Paul, I don't know if you heard the episode that we did with President Biden, but what he wanted to do and did do, he was so excited because I guess he did some research, found out that you and I were related. He came in playing one of your songs on his phone as one of his go-to
entrance.
songs that he's got on his phone all the time.
That was his entrance on his own
music.
personal cell phone.
That was funny. I thought you were putting me on.
Yeah.
Nobody handed it to him. He got it on his own phone. He walks in playing that. Jason blushed.
And then I feel like, didn't we call you?
Yeah, we
Yes.
called.
You called me, and he
When
got
we
on
called,
the
that's
phone
right.
and said, I'm only doing this with your son-in-law because I said I wanted to talk to you. Well, I was getting ready from the world I come from to say, fuck you, Jason, don't put me on. And then I heard the sound of his voice. I'm saying, this is real,
Yeah.
right? And then he carried on as you heard him. He was very complimentary and very nice. And
loves you.
I was very
Sweet
touched,
man.
and it was very
It's cool for us to experience all of that happening in front of our face.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
It's very, very cool. Well,
Yeah.
Paul, you've been killing it for a long, long time, many, many years to come. We can only hope to have the kind of longevity and relevance that you've had in this business and your success in your personal life too. I mean, I'm a huge benefit of your offspring as well, and we got a couple of great grandkids of yours to prove it. And so I
they
just love
beautiful.
you, and thanks for chatting with us.
Hey,
Yeah,
guys, it's been my pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you,
Love
Paul.
you, Pop.
Good to be here.
Paul, thank you, the great Paul Anka.
I look forward to the dinner, guys. Look
Can't
forward
wait.
to
That's
the
a
dinner.
done deal. That's a done
Just
deal.
let me know when you're back. We'll get
Oh.
it done. All right? All right.
Bye, Paul.
See you, Paulie.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
you.
buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
What a legend. What a
Yeah,
legend.
that's cool. By the way,
Jason.
I mean,
I can't believe you guys haven't met him before.
Jason,
I've never met
blown-
him,
I'm not kidding.
I'm
can't
not kidding either. Like,
believe that we haven't met him yet.
well, I'm so
You've already
excited
been
that
like, yeah,
you guys.
he's great.
You
You're
guys
like, oh yeah, he's great. I love him. He's great. He's great. And I'm like, I would be. I
Yeah.
can't believe that you haven't like paraded him and being like, Sean and Will, you guys are gonna love this
Yeah.
guy.
I wasn't
I'm-
even sure that you guys were going to be cool with me bringing him on.
Yes,
I
why
don't
not?
think-
Talking
well, I mean,
about-
because
Fucking
it's
Anka.
just so self-serving. You know, I mean, he's my father-in-law, and
It's
like
got
I want to
nothing
bring him on and
do
chat with him.
you,
But
you
do
dick.
you ever call?
I
Do you ever
couldn't-
call him? Do you ever call him
Do you ever
Panka?
think about us?
Panka. No, but that can be your little pet name for him.
Yeah, Panka.
No, you guys were very, very sweet to him. Thank you.
I'm dead serious. I want to sit down with him. I'm not even kidding.
Oh, he'll talk to you every
I
day.
wanna
For,
just
like,
know,
well, let's
I just
start
wanna
having
know
dinners
if
with him.
he's. I was going to ask him. I want to know if he's ever whacked anybody.
Oh, that's a great
I
question.
know. I know that Sean has. I know that Sean has, but that's different.
That was mutual. That was mutual.
Oh my God. Well, that was a.
Sean
Anyway.
Sean got let into the mob because they asked him. The first thing he says, "I love whacking people." Well, you're in.
Just sign here.
Oh, okay. That same app that your friend uses.
the same. Howdy. Can you?
That's
can't-
amazing. By the way, oh, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna say I'm really blown away, Jay. I really am. I just
Yeah.
love him, and loving Amanda as much as we do as well, certainly as much as I do. Just seeing her dad and starting to understand, putting the pieces together.
Yes, that's what I was doing
Like
too.
I met one of Amanda's sisters. I remember I played golf with Amanda's mom. You and I played golf with
Yeah.
her mom years ago
Yeah.
before she passed, and
Yeah.
which was such a treat.
Yeah.
And then just meeting her dad now, it just brought it all full circle, and it just makes me love Amanda even more.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
But
really
that mean
cool.
that she came on and said hi? That was the first time
Yeah.
she's been on the show.
She's
Yeah.
never done that. It was so
That's right.
cute.
We should have her on.
Yeah.
We should
Well,
have her
You know,
on.
I mean, but now that starts to get
No,
really
but-
self-indulgent.
Now we
Then
know because we want to hear the real stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think I can be on that episode.
No, because she'll get too real. She'll be like, "I told Jason. I told him."
Yeah.
Jay,
we'll just
I
start
wanna-
fighting. It'll be a 1-hour fight.
I want to echo. I didn't want to stay silent during that. I want to echo what Paul and Will were saying too about what an incredible father you are, what an incredible person you are. I truly, and
Yeah.
and this is
True.
the episode to say that, and this is the time to say that. So I just think you're amazing, and hearing him love on you was just, really cool. It was really cool. to
Very
hear that.
nice. I feel like you're working into a buy here.
I am.
Yeah.
I wanted to quote some of the lyrics
Here it
from the song "My Way" that I didn't know he wrote until
You
today.
can't say
which was
I did it by way.
why not? Why
Can't say
not?
that, because that's not a fucking thing. You
Yes,
can't
it
say
is.
I think
I
it,
do.
no,
You
yeah,
fucking
no,
blew it. You fucking blew it.
No,
Wait,
I
wait till
didn't
he
blow
do-
it. Anybody who heard you say that knew
no,
exactly
he's going to
what
talk
you-
about sleeping with a man and a woman, and watch, he's going to do all these lyrics, right?
Go ahead,
I
Sean.
was
Yeah,
gonna
go
do
ahead.
just the one lyric about
Yeah.
I planned each charted course, each careful step along the
Very
Come on,
nice.
that's pretty great.
SmartLess is 100% organic and artisanally handcrafted by Bennett Barbaco, Michael Grant Terry, and Rob Armjarf.
SmartLess.